Hey everybody, welcome back. We are going to be doing a class review on the Cleric Monk Beast Lord. I don't see a ton of people playing this one, but I do know that, obviously there's not only one on the whole server or anything, but this one is really fun. As far as just straight up tanking ability, it's not there yet. I need to get a lot more stuff on this end. I've got 5 shielding, and that's pretty much it. So I need to get a lot more augs on this guy to make him efficient. But what I wanted to show you guys today was his performance, and we'll do that starting off here in Sleeper's Tomb. I went ahead and already ran down here and just imitated death off. So we're going to just hit follow on La Pet. Had them stopped at the entrance so they didn't get a bunch of aggro on the stuff that I was trying to feint off. And we'll just get going. So this guy is basically like a master at just straight up burst damage. So overall, I wouldn't say that this is going to be the best class for sustained damage, just because when you run out of your cooldowns, you are kind of at the mercy of the mob itself. The Cleric helps a lot. Being able to sustain the healing during those downtimes that you don't have, like Bloodlust or Battle Frenzy, things like that. But for the most part, you're definitely going to be a trio based around your cooldown. So, but as long as you go into it knowing that, and don't expect to be able to just rock the house without the cooldowns, you're going to be just fine. Other than that, being that there's a Cleric in the trio, you're going to have access to the hammer that does the healing, which right now is just an extremely overpowered weapon. You're going to have access to all of the best heal over times, the best heal AAs, and of course the best buffs as far as AC goes. The Beast Lord has access to the Bloodlust, a pretty savage pet. The pet's not going to be anywhere near as good as the Magician pet, but that's going to be, I mean, obviously I feel like that's kind of fair. But the pet still does quite a bit of damage. Mine is not equipped at all the way it should be to be able to do the kind of damage that I'm talking about, but be that as it may, the pet still does the additional damage. I look at it like a really buffed up DOT, and obviously the monk is going to bring a ton of damage to it, as well as the hundreds of hands effect. So this guy is sitting right at 1500 AAs, so honestly he's still got a ways to go to get maxed out, but right now he's got 3000 AC, attack is looking at 2313, avoidance 896, mitigation, I mean all this kind of stuff. It's pretty much the basic. Spell damage is at 670, healing is at 726, so not even really maxed out there either. So I mean I got a few more things of gear to get, a few more things for augs to get, and hopefully we'll get one of them right here while I'm showing you guys this guy doing the sleeper. So we just killed this dragon with no cooldowns, not even Bloodlust, so that's pretty good. But again, these are not difficult dragons to kill, so most people are able to take down the sleeper. At this point, obviously, I'm just showing you guys this as a kind of a point of reference. And then we can move on to something more difficult. By the way, if you are on the server or new to the server or thinking about joining the server, I just joined a new guild called the Broken Ones. It is actually led by Broken Stoic. If I said that wrong, I apologize. But he's one of the big streamers for THJ. So if you haven't watched his stuff, please do. And if you're looking for a great guild to join where it's pretty vocal and everybody tries to help each other out, that was the whole premise of the guild, which is what caught my eye. So obviously send someone a message or just send me one or him. Some must-haves for this little trio. I like having Avatar weapon because it's going to proc me up that extra buff. I like having this. It's a quested weapon. It's called the Blue Two-Handed Hammer. This right here is going to be your only AoE damage weapon that you're going to get. Now this one does relatively decent damage. It's not going to be anywhere near what you're looking at if you are playing other classes that have like way better AoE stuff, especially with a wizard involved. But it's what you've got. and it allows you to do like mass pulls in areas like Umbral Plains, Dragon Necropolis, some of the Plane of Fire area, just depending on, you know, your sustainability and with heals and things like that. So, but the good news is that it does allow you to do the massive pulls, which is one thing people are addicted to on this server, is the massive pulls. You can still kind of do them without it, just like killing them one at a time. It just takes a lot longer. So if you don't feel like doing the very long quest to get that, you know, it's not going to be the end of the world. You'll be just fine. So my recommendation is to always keep taunt off of your pet on this one. You're going to be the one taking the damage because you're the one that's proccing in the heals. So we'll just move this guy back over here. So first Bloodlust we're going to hit is going to be just to get his HP down enough to get the secondary ad in. And then we're going to kill that ad. And then we'll burn him down after that. I'll tell you what, I play so many knight classes and like, you know, tank classes in the trio that when I first got feared on one of these dragons, I literally thought that like something was wrong, like I was glitching out. I just absolutely was not prepared to be feared because I haven't been feared like the whole time. So I literally thought that my character was absolutely broken. Here we go, we got our secondary dragon in. So after my Bloodlust runs out, if I'm starting to get a little dicey on health, I'll go ahead and pop my supernal elixir here, and that will actually give me a lot more sustainability in the downtime that Bloodlust is gone. So I've got 29 seconds until Bloodlust is back and 35 seconds on this heal over time. Didn't even have attack on, cool. But yeah, at that point you're kind of filling up the void of not having any heals coming in from the procs. Now granted, you're not going to get near as much healing off of the heal over time as you are going to off of your Bloodlust and the proc hammer, but it's better than nothing, and it kind of fills in that void that you're going to have whenever you're down on your cooldowns. You do have a couple of just like DOTs, nothing that's going to just wow everybody or anything like that. You do have a couple of them though. You do pick up obviously the parts of the Beast Lord that you're going to have. You got a couple of Beast Lord buffs that are kind of cool to have, just like little cannon fodder buffs. Group Shrink is really nice if you want to just, you know, power down. The only bad thing about the frog is this over here. It's this weird mushroom pet that you're going to get. I honestly would take any other pet in the whole game. Like any other pet in the entire game. So now we're at 49%. We're going to go ahead and just bust just 2 of these cooldowns, and we're going to just watch this guy melt. So now every single time that I proc, it's going to show you guys that for starters, we're procking like crazy, and for second, they're going to be enormous crits on those procs. So we're going to keep going. Look at that, bam, 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 and then this guy went from 50% down to get wrecked in a matter of seconds. So very good for burn damage. So this guy didn't have nothing. This guy had the blocking aug, but not the one we want. So that's fair. We'll give that away in the bazaar. So that was this guy. performance on something like the Sleeper, which I know is kind of older content. So we'll go ahead and run this guy over to someplace we can get a little bit more of an idea of his performance on something a little bit more challenging. So we'll push him into the plains, and I'm curious as to where to go. We could always do Plane of Fire, but that gets a little meh. We'll go this way. You know, we'll go into water. That sounds good. And we'll just kind of do a small example on some of the water bosses. The cool part about having the monk in this is the imitate death. It kind of gives you the kind of same freedom that you're going to have with the bard, with the rogue. Obviously not as good as the rogue, only simply because the rogue can just invis past everything, not get any aggro at all. Whereas we are going to have to get all the aggro and just kind of feign it off at the end. But so let's get this going. So the first boss in here actually drops a pretty good instrument. So we'll just go over to that boss, and then we'll go to the secondary boss at the, you know, towards the end. Okay, so imitate death. We'll do follow, get the pet over here, pick up. We should be good. So let's get these small ads right here taken down, and then we'll move on to the bigger stuff. And when you hit Bloodlust, you'll start to see like they kind of go down pretty quick. You got to kind of change your target pretty fast. This is what I was talking about though. If you mass pull and you just do this, where you're just swapping your targets out with the, you know, during the duration of your Bloodlust buff, you're still going to be extremely effective on killing multiple things. You're not going to die with the buff going, or the, you know, the proc going. So it's just one of those things. It's whatever you want to do. I went ahead and got the AoE weapon just because I like doing the questing anyways. It's called EverQuest, and I always was a little bummed out that there wasn't more quests when I first started. But it was just something that I really wanted to have, so I went and got it. So we'll go ahead and just engage this guy without any more cooldowns, and we'll pop this just to show what it can do without the additional Bloodlust. So the damage, like I said, isn't going to be there, you know, hugely without that Bloodlust going, but you're not going to be in a huge, I guess, pickle of HP. You've got a lot of sustain with that proc from the hammer. If you're not familiar with the hammer, it's the Hammer of Holy Vengeance. The regular version of it is usually pretty cheap on the bazaar if you want to just buy it. It also comes with a Sympathetic Healing 8, which is huge. And I've got the Bunny Fist on it, but if you want to level it up yourself, you can get one relatively cheap. So we'll just go ahead and Bloodlust this guy real fast. And you'll start to see his HP is going down pretty quick. And this is a raid boss. So, I mean, it's not the raid boss. It's not going to be, you know, something that people are going to be in awe that you were able to take down or anything. And, you know, send you a bunch of congrats in your tails or anything. But, I mean, it's still going to be a raid boss. But this guy is very good at clearing content. And at this point, without the, you know, additional block augs and things like that, I would say that he's more of a supplemental character for like in-game stuff, like the end, like Plane of Time. I have done content in Plane of Time with this character solo, but things like Ralos and things like that are still really, really difficult, if at all possible, because of the fact that the sustain on this guy is low whenever you're outside of your cooldowns. And so if you don't base those cooldowns correctly, or the cooldowns just aren't there at the time and you're impatient, then you're not going to be able to succeed on some of those bosses. I was able to burn Quorum down by myself, but Ralosec solo had me out. So we'll put this guy on stop, and then we'll just roll this way. So that guy didn't drop the instrument that I wanted, so that kind of makes me sad, Panda, but having the ability to just skip content that you don't want tab to clear to get to stuff is a huge win. I do have a couple of characters that don't have the ability to skip content to get to stuff, and having to like clear Plane of Water to get to the end is way different than just rolling in and being able to, you know, get to the content that you want to clear. So let's go over to the end guy here. I don't know that I've ever beat the God of Water on this character itself. I know that there's a tremendous amount of ads over here. So let me see if it's something that this guy can handle. If not, we'll see it together, you know. So let's get everybody over here. Got our pet in here. The claws of Gaelid or whatever it's called, it doesn't have any bearing on from the Bloodlust, unfortunately. I wish it did, because it's an extra proc you get from your AAs. That would be huge to have that proc all the time as well, because that would just be one more, you know, 3,000-4,000 damage proc that you're going to get just for logging in and pressing attack on. So let's try to get as many of these as we can. Boot it up here. I wish that these guys had like a larger aggro radius, because having to go gather them up sometimes is really annoying. So if you've never fought this guy, the trick is to just leave the names alone in the beginning. They have like ridiculous amounts of HP. So it's absolutely 110% not worth engaging them. Once you clear out all the little guys, the big guys will respawn in regular versions to where you could kill them. You can kill them at this point. It just takes a lot of time. We're talking like Vexthal style bosses, which is really annoying, and it's not going to be worth the effort at all. I have done it before because I didn't know, and I was extremely sad to find out afterwards that you don't have to fight them like at all until later on. So finding that out and then realizing that I had made a huge life-altering mistake was something that I learned, and hopefully you guys don't have to. So yeah, when you're doing this, just make sure not to target the bosses, because like I said, we're going to do those afterwards. The bosses will be hitting you the whole time, so just make sure you have some form of sustain going on. Ours is going to be the heal over times. And we're just going to keep on trying to clear out these little guys. In the meantime, when the bosses are on us, and just kind of target them one by one if you have to. You can use spells if you have any kind of little insta clickies. I know the wizard gets a pretty good one to debuff or whatever. You can use those. Those are pretty nice, especially from a distance. So now we've got some more on us. We're almost up to our Bloodlust. But as you can see, with the heal over times going, my interim of not having the cooldowns didn't hurt that bad. So we'll pop it again. Just knock these guys out. Ooh, see, now I'm getting a little dicey over here. So let's go ahead and, well, shoot, I wasn't paying attention. There's a lot going on my screens here, guys. But for the most part, you just want to keep your heal over times up and do that. So what we'll do is we'll go to a different one. That one has a lot of ads in it. And again, I don't have this guy built up the way he needs to be to be out, you know, clearing all the content solo. But this guy is a supplemental character. is an enormous asset to have. The downfall to this guy being a supplemental character is that the aggro he causes from his burns is huge. So trying to control that aggro can be a bit damning at times, only because most of the time the characters that do play tanks on this server, they don't care about leveling up or getting their taunt and all that kind of stuff just because they're playing solo. So you'll run into like, hey, can you please taunt? And they're like, I have like 3 skill and taunt. So that can be an issue. Most of the AoE taunts are going to be extremely long cooldowns for that kind of stuff. So just one more thing to keep in mind: if you are going to be just blasting out your cooldowns to do your burst damage, most of the time you're not going to have somebody out there that's going to be able to control that aggro. I'm talking even like SKs and everything else. Like it is a tremendous amount of aggro you're about to just blast onto yourself. What? I have no idea what just happened. They should have been way behind me, and they all caught up to me right at once. Just blasted me. That's okay. But yeah, this trio is awesome. I take this one into Plane of Time all the time with people that want to duo Plane of Time, especially if they're wanting to like conquer Zeb or something like that. This guy sitting behind and engaging after the fact, you know, that they've already engaged, got some aggro built. This guy coming in and pumping out huge DPS with his cooldowns is awesome. Especially if I can save the cooldowns for the harder bosses. Like if I can go in and just use Bloodlust and do some, you know, additional damage on some of the bosses, and then when it gets to like Ralos Zek, I go, you know, go ham with this Battle Frenzy and Divine or something like that at the time, then I'm gonna go crazy. And if I want to do it on like Quorum or Zeb, if I use my silent casting at the end, it will actually reduce all of the aggro that I'm getting from my procs, so that even helps more. So you can definitely use this guy to help out, like especially if you've got a guild or something like that that's doing Plane of Time on a regular. One thing that I hate is doing all of this stuff solo all the time. Like I know it's a solo server, but I much prefer to do things with other people when possible. So let's get my invis on. Maybe that'll help this time. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention. You guys let me know in the comments. Like, did I just like literally just let myself die at that moment, or? I guess it's very possible. I just wasn't paying attention and let myself get whacked way too much. Probably because I'm gabbing, and then as I'm gabbing, I'm getting killed and not even realizing it. Yeah, it must have been right here. Whenever I guess they caught up because I was going down the tunnel. Yeah, it looks like it was right there. I'm getting a lot more damage right around that area. Well, the more you know. I have no idea if this guy respawns all of the ads, or if you just kind of get to continue the fight from where you left off. We'll find out here in a second on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, it looks like they don't respawn. It looks like the bosses are over there where they killed me, and then these guys that I need to kill are still over here. So this was going to be a lot easier than I thought. So we are back in business. Get our pet over here. And then I'll show you guys what happens whenever they respawn or whatever it is. if you have a trio or this trio and you've got, you know, the super augs and stuff like that, drop me a comment and let me know how this thing performs with all of the dodge augs and stuff. I know that Monk is actually a fairly decent tank in game. In the real game itself, I have not had only a Monk as far as the actual tanking goes. I know that Monk is going to far outpace the Beast Lord tank-wise, but I would be interested to know how this trio works out with, you know, having in-game augs in there and stuff as well. All right, you see how they respawn from over there to over here? Now we'll engage these guys, and you'll see how their HP is going down really fast now. These guys don't hit as hard. Their HP goes down tremendously, and technically, I'm pretty sure that if we wanted to, being that the mobs don't seem to reset after the death, that probably means they don't reset after a feign death either. So technically, I bet I could feign those other guys off in a certain area and then finish off the rest of the little guys. Just little strategies after the fact, I guess. Hindsight 2020. So now once you get that, this guy pops out. He's able to be hit now. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and pop an elixir. Get that going for, because my bloodlust is not up. As you can see, without even having the additional damage from bloodlust, I mean, he's going down pretty good. It was just, I guess I need to learn the mechanics of the boss on the, getting up to him or whatever else is. But yeah, look at that. Boom, 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 boom. I mean, this guy does tremendous damage whenever he's on burst. And then he's down. And then you just sit here and enjoy the spoils of war and things like that. But that is it. I recommend playing this trio, or at least giving it a shot. I think it's a lot of fun. I use this one, like I said, a lot more with other people. If they're just saying, you know, an out of character, like, hey, does anybody want to do playing the time with me? I would take this guy over like my SK Wiz Rogue or something, just because I don't need anybody on that character. This guy is a lot more fun to roll in there and just do a ton of damage. So, all right, guys. Well, that was my review on these three. If you like that, please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next video.